nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa. You ain't seen nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa. I think there's something in the water. If you wanna take a sip, but be careful what you wish for. The faint of heart can't handle it. Everybody wants a piece of someone else's prize, but it ain't free, it don't come cheap. Only the strongest will survive. You ain't seen nobody like this.
Good evening and welcome to San Antonio Soccer Roundtable. My name is Harry. Joining me tonight is Rafa. How are you?
Pretty good, Harry. How are you?
Doing all right here. So you ready to kick off year 5, season 5, episode 1? First one's going to be high school. I think on Sunday, San Antonio Fancast or San Antonio FC on Sunday is going to be kicking off with a recap of the schedule, player movements, kit, and who else this week here. So tune in on Sunday for San Antonio FC coverage with that. Royce, Robert, Matt, Rafa will all be there, and I should be there as well. So, but tonight we're talking about the kids. Rafa, we start this show, and I know it'll probably pick up here, but where have you been?
It's been live streaming games. They've been on the 210 High School Soccer Live. We've been live streaming a few games. I was one last night. I was in Smithson Valley this weekend and this past weekend, and a couple other ones to cover. And we got some more. We'll have more games. I think maybe we'll sneak one tomorrow. I think there's a special game tomorrow with probably one of the high caliber teams that were in my power rankings for the state from the 50-50 podcast. One of my top 5 teams is coming here to San Antonio. So
the Power 5.
Yeah, the Power 15. Yeah. Well, this is the Power 1. So this is the biggie one. This is the biggie team. So I'm looking forward to it. So because I saw them last year, they got upset last year, but I think this year, they're gonna. We'll see. We'll see how they go against our San Antonio talent. I have faith in our San Antonio talent.
It should be good. As we kind of discussed here, we're going to try to make these shows more single topics, try to make them a little bit more shorter outside of certain episodes, and we'll typically let you know. But so week 1, I got the standings. We'll go over it. Keep in mind when we're talking about UIL standings, I go off of Max Preps and was it MySA, the high school scoreboard for that here. So if you are part of a team and it does not reflect what your accurate standings are, that's what I'm going off. I pulled, like I did the UIL right before the show here. I didn't even get to finish updating the dates on all the things here. But to me, like I said here, if you can, put a word to the coach saying, hey, update the scores if you want a true reflective of the standings. And it varies for that here. If your coach can report either to Max Preps or MySA. I know, Rafa, you probably know a little bit more about that from your high school days on how difficult or how easy that is.
Yeah, that's why you have assistant coaches that send the scores and the stats. Or not, hey, yet we have team managers too.
Well, that's to me like team managers.
Your stats,
your 2 or 3 guy. Just at the end of the game. I'm assuming once it's certified through the referees, because I know at club games they meet in the middle and sign the cards. I'm probably assuming it's very similar to high school, but. We'll get to it here. So let's look at this here. So looking at TAPS, Central Catholic, 631, 2-0 in district. Remember, this is a Houston San Antonio district, a Houston St. Prius Catholic, 8-1, 1-1. They did lose to Central Catholic Antonian 10-2-3. They actually lost to St. Prius for that here for Antonian Tomball 5-6-3, St. Thomas in Houston 7-4-2, and the Village School 4-4 out of district, 0-2 in district here for that here. Any surprises?
Actually, I was at the Antonian St. Pius X game. That was one of the first games I went to see. Took pictures to kind of kick off for the new Instagram page that we have. That was a competitive game, but St. Pius was able to pull it together and get a win. And it was kind of back and forth, but I'm not surprised Central Catholic is in first place. Also, I think they've bounced back from last year. I think they've played some tough competition. Like I said, I know they went up to Dallas for that North Texas Elite Showcase. So they always
so
have
they
a good
played McKinley Boyd at 1-1 draw. Lost 3-0 to Irving and beat South Lake Carroll 2-1 in the North Texas Elite Showcase. That last one was on the 7th at noon.
Yeah, that's a big win for them in knocking off Salt Lake Carroll. Salt Lake Carroll is one of the top teams for Region 1, and I think they were one of the favorites to come out to go to Georgetown besides them and Keller. That Irving team, actually, I've started kind of following them a little bit. They've been on a roll. They actually had another big win last night, so no shame to losing to them. They've won a few top games, so keep an eye on, and like I said, keep an eye on them out of the Dallas area. But
and then right before that, Central Catholic lost to Lee 4-1 as well. So, I think it'll be interesting to kind of see how they match up as the schedule gets stronger. And then, for Antonian, they played in the Northeast. It doesn't say. It says they drew and lost. So they had kind of a mixed weekend in the Northeast ISD tournament. I wonder if I can pull that up.
Yeah, you can see what Central Catholic's doing. Playing these high caliber playoff teams, state ranked teams. It's gonna not only helps them in their district play, but it's gonna help them make that run into the playoffs. And like I said, the last couple of years, the Dallas, team, the private schools in the Dallas team from the Dallas area have been the dominant ones. So this prepares them for that. So like I said, having those good results up there, it's going to pay off for them when they make that run starting in February.
Yeah, it's not very easy to find the tournaments page there on there. So, but yeah, to me, like I said here, for that weekend, for St. Prius Houston, I know the last show that we had right before that, we thought it would be interesting, and it was flip scores. St. Prius beat San Antonian 3-1, but then lost to Central Catholic by the same score. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes through. January 13th, Central Catholic and Antonian play as well at Central Catholic. So that'll be an interesting one. That's Friday.
Yeah, Friday the 13th.
Friday evening at 7 p.m. at Central Catholic High School. If you're able to go out. So
if you're not at the Spurs game at the Allo Dome, hell, go to Tom Benson Stadium and get another good match.
I think 50,000-60,000 expected at the Spurs match.
Yeah.
So moving on to the District 2-4 Region 4 boys. Brownsville St. Joseph 3-1 in district. San Antonio Christians 3-1 in district. Laredo St. Augustine Knights 3-1. TMI 2-1. St. Mary's Hall 1-2. St. Anthony Yellow Jackets 0-3, and Victoria St. Joseph 0-3. All of those are district plays here. So St. Mary's kind of struggling, but this looks to be a wide open district as far as for Region 4 here.
Yeah, I was actually at the St. Mary's St. Anthony's game for both the boys and the girls, and the boys were able to get a win, so to get their first win in district play. Yeah, this is going to be this is a comparative, well balanced district, but like I said, I do see Brownsville St. Joseph. They do have a lot of talent down there. I think as far as the district title, it may come down for them and San Antonio Christian. Even though Laredo St. Augustine still, like I said, tied with them, I still see San Antonio Christian. It's going to be between those two, and then it's going to be a dogfight for those other playoff spots between Laredo and TMI. And
Because the top four make it, right? Is my understanding.
I think so. Or top five. Like I said, we got Taps is real weird on how many teams, because I remember last year they had one district had 6 teams in, and so it will, like I said, once it gets closer to the playoffs, we'll see who gets in. But it's like I said, this district's a well balanced one. You're going to see it's going to be a dogfight. But I think San Antonio Christian has a good shot at getting that district title. They can knock out Brownsville St. Joseph's.
Moving on, District 3, Region 4, or 4. The Atonement Academy 4-4, but 3-0 in district. Corpus Christi and Garnet Word 2-0. Corpus Christi St. Paul High School the second 1-0. Shirts John Paul 1-1, 3-6 on the year. New Braunfels Christian Academy 0-1. Geneva, the boys 3-5, 0-1. Kerrville and Holy Cross. Holy Cross looks like it's going to be a rough year for them, just looking at the standings and the scores that they've had here. So the Atonement Academy, through here, do you expect Church John Paul to kind of creep back up the standings? I know it's very, very early.
Yeah, I think so. But the one thing with the Atonement, like, you got to give it to credit to them. They making that switch from the fall soccer taps to the winter soccer taps. It's they've done a great job, and like I said, for them, this is their second year in the winter soccer. It's starting to pay bit dividends for them. From last year, it was a little rough patch for them, but here it's now they're, like I said, they have the district lead. So I do see them going into the playoffs. I think John Paul the second. I think from Church. I think they'll fight for it. Then they'll keep an eye on Rafa's Christian too. So they might be one of those sleeper teams that can sneak in and get into the playoffs as well.
Moving on, I believe it's to the ladies because there's 3. Yeah. So District 1, Region 2, San Antonio Apaches, 11 wins, 1 loss, 3 draws, 3-0 in district. Houston St. Agnes 3-0 as well. Houston St. Prius 3-2. Incarnate Word 2-1. Tomball Concordia 1-2. Houston Incarnate Word 1-3. And the Villages out of Houston 0-5 and 0-6 on the season here. What struck me looking at Max Preps, for the ladies for their state rankings, they have Antonian, I think was second in the state here, if memory serves me right.
Mm-hmm.
For that here, just and I know that's their rankings, and for that here, but your thoughts on Antonia on the ladies' side?
I think for them, like I said, they were the favorite for this district. I'm sure St. Agnes is gonna have something. Will have something to say, but I'm looking for that game. But I think Antonian is gonna really contend and try to get that district title. Now, for the state rankings, you have some powerhouses in the Dallas area, and we'll see what hopefully, like I said, the ladies can prove them wrong once they get into the playoffs. San Antonio Incarnate, hopefully they'll get in. Like I said, last year they had a rough season. Mm-hmm. It looks like they've kind of bounced back a bit. They do have 11 wins, but they have 7 losses. But I mean, they're playing quality teams, so that's hopefully that's going to help them, get into help them win a playoff spot and also go deep too as well. Because once they run into those Dallas teams, and then like I said, the last few years the Dallas teams for TAPS for 6A have been, they've dominated. They've had the state champions, I think, the last 5 years.
Yeah, trying to see. So they played. Well, it looks like here they played at the Harlandale tournament. Doesn't say who they played, but they won 4-0, lost 1-5, and then won 3-1 on Saturday. So went 2-1 there, and then JP2 tournament went 3-2. So yeah, they've been playing competitive and quite a few victories, especially after starting out 0-3. They got hot and have started putting it together for that here. Their next match would be, well, they're playing in the NEISD tournament this weekend. So for that here,
Yeah, the showcase.
Yeah, in the showcase. And then the 17th, they'll play Antonian at Antonian. So that's what, next week?
Next Tuesday night.
Next Tuesday night, yeah, at 6 o'clock at Antonian College Prep for that here before they go on the road to Houston for the weekend. So,
yeah, one thing I noticed from these teams, especially the 6A, they're actually, since they have the Houston and San Antonio, into one district play, they're actually playing back-to-back games on weekends.
mm-hmm.
Like they'll play, like I know St. Pius with the boys, they played Antonian that Friday night, and then they played Central Calca the next day. I think that way that they don't have to travel during
It's just one overnight stay.
Yeah, one overnight stay, so which is a pretty good, smart idea for them. It's less travel for them and less stress from missing class too.
Yeah, looking at here, so the 20th they go over to Houston. The following weekend they go back over to Houston. I guess February 3rd and 4th as well. So, but then Houston comes to them the following weekend. So it's good. It seems like the local schools are going to be more that midweek, that Tuesday match. But if it's a San Antonio versus Houston, then you travel over there. So, and then moving on to District 2, Region 4, San Antonio Christians 3-0, St. Anthony 2-1, St. Mary's, come on, Coach Cano, 2-2, TMI 1-1, Laredo St. Augustine still hasn't recorded anything, and Victoria St. Joseph 0-1 in district here. So, me personally, I'd like to see St. Mary's higher. I'm not putting any pressures on the coach, but I'm just calling it as I see it here. But San Antonio Christian and St. Anthony's and St. Mary's is right there, to be honest with you. So your thoughts on District 2, Region 4?
Well, I was at the Tuesday night game for St. Mary's and St. Anthony's, and St. Mary's was winning at the half, but St. Anthony's was able to
pull it out,
build some momentum in the second half, and ended up winning that game. And like I said, St. Mary's couldn't withstand that run that St. Anthony's did on those goals. I know they played San Antonio Christian, I believe last night, so I don't know if that was a result that's already come out for that. That was a tough, like I said, I know Coach kind of mentioned that was going to be one of the top games for that, for district play. San Antonio Christian, actually, I got to see them play on last Thursday night when they played Bernie.
We won't mention the score from last night. We'll just say they lost.
Yeah, they played Bernie last night, and also last Thursday night, San Antonio Christian actually had some really good talent on that team. They really do move the ball well. Really great midfield. So, keep an eye on them. They said they could make a run in the 4A girls playoffs. Keep an eye on them. I think they have an opportunity to win a couple playoff games and maybe even represent San Antonio for the state tournament for TAPS.
Yeah, so on the 20th they play Laredo, and this is for St. Mary's. They play Laredo St. Augustine, 24th TMI, and then the 31st Victoria St. Joseph. So if they can get quality wins on those, I think they'll be fairly safe. If they struggle, it'll put them on that borderline when it comes playoff time, I have a feeling. So, but anything on San Antonio Christians?
Like I said, seeing them, like I said, even though they lost to Bernie, they gave them some fits, and it was actually, like I said, it was, they kind of got a little winded towards the end, but they kept up with Bernie, and so it's good for them playing some tougher competitions. Like I said, it's going to help them in the end go into the playoffs. And since St. Anthony's too, like I said, they got a big, a big win for them at St. Mary's Hall. It's a great confidence booster for them. I'm a little surprised TMI's, there, because usually they, like I said, they've been successful. They've gone to, won some of the state championship. Hopefully they'll bounce back. And like I said, well, hopefully we'll have all 4 San Antonio teams representing in the playoffs for us for 4A here at TAPS.
Moving on to the John Paul II Invitational, as I like to call it. Just joking here, but 2-time defending champs, 3 out of 4, I think, along those lines. 13-4-1, 1-0 in district. New Braunfels Christian Academy 6-2, 1-0. The Lady Bears from San Marcos 1-0 in district. Geneva School of Bernie undefeated, still 7-0, but they haven't played any district. And then the Atonement 0-1 in district. Holy Cross 0-1 in district, and Corpus Christi St. Paul the second 0-1 in district. When I was looking at this here. To me, I was kind of interested to see Geneva's schedule, and then looking at Church John Paul, because they've got 4 losses already. Which to me, I was like, well, how did they get the 4 losses? They lost to Antonian in the JP2 soccer tournament, probably the championship game 0-1. They lost in Austin Regents 2-0. Lost to San Antonio Christian 2-4. They drew Davenport and lost to Canyon Lake in the Harlandale tournament 2-3. They are playing in the East Northeast showcase here, where they're playing East Central's Clemens and Judson. So, thoughts on Shirts John Paul II? Good record. Any disappointing results there, but based on their losses that you thought, because they are playing bigger schools, so I guess that's where that comes into play.
Yeah, that result versus Davenport's that's a good result for them, because I think, like I said, Davenport's going to be one of those teams to watch out for 4A girls for UIL, and they're in that brutal district with Wimberley, Bernie, and also Canyon Lake. So it's good for, like I said, GP the second. They're, like I said, scheduling these games is going to be permanent, like I said, for playoffs. But keep an eye on Geneva. Like I said, they may, like I said, that's going to be an interesting game when they do hook up, and play against each other. And I'm not sure when that game is going to be.
August 18th at Wheatley Heights Sports Complex. 5 p.m.
This month.
Yeah, January 18th. Yeah,
18th. So yeah, that's a Wednesday night game. So
yeah, Wednesday.
You have a chance. Yeah, to have a chance to check that game out. I think that might be one of the top TAPS games here in the city, a real matchup. But also keep an eye on also New Braunfels Christian. I said they have a good squad too. They may challenge also Church John Paul. So those 3 teams themselves are going to really, I think, be the class act of this district and so forth. But I think in the end, I think John Paul II will win the district title.
Yeah, so you mentioned New Braunfels Christian. They beat Antonian early in December 5-0. Beat Davenport 6-2. Lost to Bernie 2-0 for that here. As far as non-conference, they have another game against Davenport towards the end of the year along those lines. And then they play, what I said, the 18th they play through here. They play John Paul Shirts at Weston Fields on the 19th, the day after. So that'll be kind of interesting where JP2 will play, in your view, probably the top two teams in the districts on back-to-back nights.
Yeah. So it'll be, like I said, it's going to be a three-horse race on this, but like I said, I'll still give the edge to John Paul, because like I said, they are the defending champs, and like I said, they've played some really tough competition and they've got some positive results. But very impressed with New Braunfels Christian has done too as well. Getting that victory over Antonian, and
So I know we're not doing rankings yet, but if you were to pick 1 or 2 TAPS teams from the boys or girls, anybody that's possibly sneaking in to your rankings?
As far as power rankings, I do see John Paul II girls. I could see them possibly in my top 5.
Well, and Antonian, I think it was Antonian, right?
Antonio too.
Yeah.
Possibly them in the top 15. The boys, it more likely to be Central Catholic, in the top 10. Like I said, they've played, some great results. I mean, knocking off St. Like Carroll speaks volumes there. To beat them is a big confidence booster going into the rest of their game. So, I do see hope. Like I said, when I do have the power rankings, you'll probably get to see them down there.
So we're gonna briefly go over UIL. It's very, very early, week 1. Some tournaments. Like there's when we go through here, there'll be some games that some teams that don't have any things here. As I mentioned, I pull it from Max Preps and then try to, if nothing there, I try to go through mysa.com. They have a great scoreboard that you can go to, and thank you both to Max Preps and MySA for having this here. But early in the season, especially not non-district, it gets a little bit tough because some teams report tournament action, some teams don't. So keep that in mind if you do see your school and it's not a true reflection of what your record is. It's just we have to have some consistency on where we're pulling the records from for that here. So just to give a heads up here. So starting out. 4A district boys, district 26 boys, Davenport 2-0, Wimberley 2-0, Bernie 1-0-1, Canyon Lake, Bandera 1-4, and then Fredericksburg 0-1 here. No shocks on Davenport and Wimberley kind of being at the top.
Yeah, no shocks, but I think for playoff wise, my top 4 for playoffs is probably more likely going to be Davenport, Wimberley, Bernie, and Canyon Lake. I like I said, I mentioned in the 50-50 podcast. I think Bernie's going to do the 3-peat. I just don't see anybody that can match up with them here in Region 4.
Them and Davenport have last year had a couple, and that might have been I might getting the girls
close games, yeah.
But I thought they were kind of a little bit testy, I guess we could kind of say.
Yeah, but like I said, Bernie, they're coached well, talent, and also that their superstar goalkeeper who, he had a gung ho job last year in the state final. I still give them the edge, and then just like I said, looking over Region 4, even in the Valley teams, I just don't see any team really challenging them. Maybe from within their own district, we'll give them a run. But like I said, I see. Nothing, but those are the 4. Those are my 4. I think they're gonna make the playoffs.
And then District 27 boys: Lavernia 4-0, Kennedy 5-2-1, Gonzales 3-4, Fox Tech 2-3, and Memorial and Yoakum 0-1. Like I said, very early standings here. Mm-hmm. Lavernia, they did well last year. Kennedy. Gonzales is kind of new to our show. They weren't in a district that we followed last year. Same with Yoakum Bulldogs for that here. So, thoughts on District 27?
I think Lavernia is still the favorite for this district, but keep your eye on Kennedy. They actually had a good result versus Bernie Champion at Bernie, which was this kind of shocker. A little shock there that how Bernie Champion's reputation as far as being one of the top programs, even though they had a hard time last year, and it seems like right now they haven't gotten together yet. But, with this district, I think the top 4 teams as far as making the playoffs, I do see Lavernia. I think Kennedy's going to make the playoffs. Gonzales is another team. They've had some success on the playoffs the last few years. Now they're in this new district, so keep an eye on them. Fox Tech, I know they made the playoffs last year. I think they have a good bunch. They're returning a lot of lettermen. There were a lot of freshmen and sophomores, so they're gonna be a seasoned team. So keep an eye on them. Memorial, I think they may contend for that final spot too. So you're gonna have 5 teams that are gonna compete for those four spots. But Lavernia, I think, is gonna be
the class.
Yeah.
Although don't sleep on Kennedy.
Don't sleep on them. Yeah, because yeah.
28, Floresville 2-0, 1-0 in district. They beat Poteet. Pleasanton 3-1-1. Uvalde, Somerset, Hondo, Poteet, Pearsall didn't have anything on the board here. like I said here, I know it at for this level, it's a little bit challenging, especially if they're playing in tournaments and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I know you mentioned Floresville, in our preview, kind of them and Pleasanton being the one to kind of watch. Any surprises like with Uvalde or Somerset getting off to a slow start?
Not so much. Like I said, I know the graduation hit them. I know Hondo. I know they took some lumps. They played some quality teams, so you got to give it to Hondo. I think they're wanting to take that next step because they just missed the playoffs just by a game. So this is as far as the Floresville and Pleasanton, it's probably going to be those two for the district title. And also getting to the playoffs, but the last two spots, I think it's a wide open minus maybe Pearsall, because Pearsall is, like I said, they're a new program, so I'm not too familiar with them. Poteet, I think they still have a long way to go, but I think between Uvalde, Somerset, and Hondo, it's going to come down for the two last playoff spots. It's going to come down to those three schools.
Oh, that one's the wrong side. Moving over to the ladies, District 26, Wimberley 4-0. Bernie 4-0, Wimberley 5-0, Bernie 4-0, Canyon Lake 6-1, Carmel Davenport 5-1-1, and then the drop. Bandera, Fredericksburg, and Great Hearts North Hooks, no record here, but the top four I think is pretty clear on this one here. Yeah. It's just a matter of the order.
Yeah, and last year Wimberley won the district title, but they got knocked off by Bernie, and Bernie ended up going to state. It's going to be the same again. Those four teams, they're going to fight it out for that district title. So I just don't see Bandera, Fredericksburg, or Great Hearts challenging for that for one of the playoff spots. So it'll be for as far as the district title. I think it's going to really come down to Bernie and Wimberley. Like I said, I did get to see Bernie play. They look a lot better than last year. As far as you could tell, the chemistry is there, and it really kind of took it up a notch. I think that because they were a young team last year, I think this year they got that experience for that long run into the state semifinals. It's helped them, and like I said, they had a really good game against San Antonio Christian. And also, here's surprising, they actually beat Southwest 7-1 in that Northeast ISD showcase. So that tells you there that and I did see Southwest 2 play as well. Southwest has some talent. For Bernie to beat Southwest, that says a lot that this team's going to make another run, a deep run into the playoffs. So, but those are, what you see on the records, those are probably going to be your four teams going into the playoffs.
And I'll say this, you're going to see the depth of 26 when you go to 27. Or I think it might be 28, but it's 27 is where you don't see that depth. Lavernia 4-1, Yoakum 2-1-1, Kennedy 1-2, Fox Tech, San Antonio Young Women's, Gonzales, Memorial, Great Hearts, Monte Vista. 26 has the powerhouses. This one here, just looking at the records, you and looking at the scores as well. It's not so much just the records, but just the scores from here. Whoever finishes in the top four of this play, in this district here, it'll be interesting to see how they do that first round in the playoffs.
Yeah. I as far as the I guess you can say the cream of the crop of this district, it's going to be the Lavernia girls. I think they had a good season last year. I just don't see any of these other teams touching them. As far as for that district title, I think they'll run away with this. And this is going to be wide. As far as the three other playoff spots, it's going to be wide open. I mean, it's going to be wide open. Maybe like I said, Yoakum, San Antonio, Kennedy. We'll learn more into next couple weeks to see who really kind of stands out. But like I said, as far as who's going to win the district spot is going to be Lavernia.
28, also another district that not a lot of action on. Uvalde 3-2. I think last year they had a deep run in the playoffs. Pleasanton 2-4-2, Floresville 0-2, and then unfortunately no records. And I believe they've played, just unfortunately nobody's reported anything. On records here, so it's hard to really discuss 28 outside of Uvalde. And I guess Pleasanton before that here, but those your top two, or
I think you gotta add Floresville into the mix too. Them dropping down from 5A to 4A. I think they were in that district with Southwest and with Lake Medina Valley, so they're battle tested. I think now they're playing teams. They can, as far as same student population, they can match up. Uvalde, I think, like I said, the district title is going to come down to between Uvalde and Pleasanton. Flores will be in the mix for that third playoff spot, and then the fourth one's going to be, I think, it's going to be
wide open.
Wide open. I honestly think Hondo may. This could be the year for the Hondo girls to get that fourth playoff spot. I think they'll have the edge over Somerset, and then over Poteet and Pearsall.
So, but that one there, to me, when you look at 26 with the powerhouses, 27 and 28, and just to me at this point the talent isn't there. It's coming, but the talent just isn't right there at this point. Moving to 5A districts 26, 27, and 28. On the girls' side, starting out, Smithson Valley 4-0, Bernie Champion 1-0, Comel Piper 1-0, Canyon 4-1, Veterans Memorial 3-1, Kerrville Tivy 2-1-1, Seguin and Wagner finishing up at 0-2. Not a lot. I think Bernie Champions played more than one match. I think Piper's played more than one match. But these are the records that are submitted here. Your thoughts on 26? As far as for 5A.
This is for girls soccer. This is the group of death for San Antonio for 5A girls soccer. Yes, Vincent Valley girls jumping there from 6A to 5A, and actually, like I said, I got to see them play. Great team. I mean, they can really touch the ball. They beat a really good El Paso Franklin team.
Mm-hmm.
Bernie Champion, like I said, they knocked off Dripping Springs last year. They made the run to the state tournament. Keep an eye on them. Also keep an eye on Canyon. I got to see them play. They knocked off Austin Bowie. They're gonna give Bernie Champion and Cincinnati Valley a run for their money, in district play, and that for that fourth spot. Believe it or not, I think the Piper Warriors they're gonna end up getting that fourth spot. It's gonna come down, I think, between them and Veterans Memorial. I just don't see Kerrville, Tivy, and Seguin and Wagner challenging. So my top, as far as playoffs, I think it's more going to be Cincinnati Valley, Bernie, Piper, and Canyon.
So you bring up kind of an interesting point with Kerrville Tivy, because they've historically been one of the top programs in the area. Last year, if memory serves me correct, they struggled a little bit here. Is it just because bigger schools have kind of moved into their district, or kind of what's brought? And I hate saying that it's a slide, because I think the competition has grown, but they were historically one of the top area teams. And I'm not saying that they're a poor team by any means, but
yeah, I think that just the talent level, especially like with these schools, like with Champion, Piper, Canyon, it's grown. Even a little bit with Veterans Memorial, it's grown a little bit. But now when you're adding Cincinnati Valley in the mix, it's just made it a lot tougher. Yeah. So, and for me, those are the four. Like I said, those are the four I see. I think clinching the playoff spot. And as far as the district title, I think it's going to end up becoming between Bernie Champion and Cincinnati Valley, which I'm not sure when they're going to play. We'll see. I'm interested when they're. Let me see. I'm trying to find their schedule really quick on when they're going to meet up, because that's probably going to be the game, the game of the week.
I can tell you here. I got it here, Max. This is 5A. Region 4. This is 26. You said Burning Champion
and Cincinnati Valley. They actually play Tuesday, Valentine's Day. So take your honey to the game they're at. And that game's gonna be at Bernie Champion. So you have no.
Do they play do they play home and away, or?
Yeah, they play home away, and then the next game they'll play. They'll be on, I think, March the 10th, which could decide the last district title.
The Friday night football on that one.
So you're not doing any. Those are probably going to be the two of the biggest games here. And like I said, it's going to be a classic. Hopefully, I'll be able to get up there. If not the Valentine's Day for sure. The March 3rd, the March 10th game.
So they play Johnson and then Coppell, Koppel. Bernie Champion does, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah, for this weekend.
And then Lovejoy, Lucas Lovejoy. They were in the playoffs last year, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all three of them. Actually, Lucas Lovejoy was one of the top-ranked teams in the state, and then until they got knocked off.
Yeah, so Bernie Champion's got this week here, tough, and then they play Georgetown on Saturday, so that'll be definitely interesting for them, Smithson Valley.
Yeah, Smithson Valley, I think they're going up to they might be off. I'm not sure if they have any.
They play Leander. Well, they play Vista Ridge.
Okay, so they'll be in the Leander ISD showcase.
Vista Ridge, Leander. Yeah, so they're playing 2 matches this weekend. And then they play Cornerstone Christian on according to this on the 17th. So.
Yeah, that Vista Ridge game should be a good one with them. That should
up
be a
in
good
Cedar
test.
Park.
Yeah.
So be interesting for 26 girls, and then 27 Alamo Heights 2-0-2, 1-0 in district. Jefferson 4-3, 1-0. Highlands actually they have a win for that here. They were 1-0. Burbank and MacArthur haven't played district yet, or Edison. Brackenridge, Sam Houston, and Lanier all 0-1 in districts, and Highlands should have a win there. Obviously, it's typed it on that one there. But Alamo Heights, I know it's early. 2 draws. Anything to be concerned about?
No, they're playing high-level quality teams. I think they're going to run away with this district.
Right.
They're going to win this district. As far as the other 3 playoff spots, it's going to come down to I think MacArthur moving down from 6A to 5A. I think they'll get a spot. Jefferson, I know they made the playoffs last year. We're not sure how much they lost as far as graduation, but like I said, they have a 4-3 record. So, like I said, they're staying competitive. I think they'll be in the mix for the playoffs. Keep an eye on Edison. I know they made the play. Like I said, I went to that game. They went to a shootout. Even though Jefferson ended up winning the district title, they'll be in contention. And also keep an eye on the Burbank Lady Bulldogs. I think they could end up getting that 4th spot.
Yeah, Alamo Heights 2 draws. Vista Ridge from Cedar Park and Waco Midway both 1-1 draws on the 5th and the 7th for that here. So they do play Seguin in a tournament here tomorrow, but Wimberley and then New Braunfels Unicorns on the 14th.
That'll be a good game. That'll be a good test with them. Wimberley game, even though it's one of the top 4 teams versus 5. I think that'd be a good test for them, and also that New Braunfels game too as well.
So for them, I haven't looked at Jefferson, but let's see here. Jefferson. They just played John Paul II, lost 3-2. They actually start district. They don't have a match until district next Tuesday on the 17th. So, so they're off. They're off till then. So, and then they get Burbank and Alamo Heights next week. So, welcome to district.
Yeah, right off the bat.
28 girls, Medina Valley 4-2-1, Southwest 2-1, Southwest Legacy 1-1-1, Southside Cardinals 2-4, South San 1-3, McCollum 1-3, Harlandale 0-3-1, and El Paso CC win 0-1 as far as what's been reported here. Medina Valley going to give Southwest a challenge this year.
I did, like I said, I did see Southwest play this week. I saw them play against Harlan, and they got a 1-0 win. But they did did dominate that game as far as touch, and and they should have scored a couple more goals in. But then they had that bad loss against Bernie High. I think that might have humbled them there a little bit. But I still think Southwest girls are going to win the district. Medina Valley will challenge them, but I think Medina Valley will finish second. And then the two other spots going to be, I think it's going to be wide open. I think McCollum, because I did see them last year in the playoffs, they really gave Jefferson a game last year. I think they'll be in the mix. Also, maybe Harlandale, even though they're 0-3, I think they have a chance. And also Southside. Legacy, we'll see. Like I said, there's about 4 or 5 teams that are going to compete for those final 2 spots.
Yeah, so looking at Southwest, just kind of looking at theirs, they play Laredo Alexander,
which will be a tough one for them
tomorrow. And then they get Hondo, then they get Wagner on the weekends, and then Eagle Pass, and then they start district play after that here. So first Medina Valley Southwest will be on the 31st in Castroville there for that here, and then their rematch is on the 24th for that here. So. Moving over to the boys, 26, Kerrville 3-1, Piper 2-1, Burning Champion 1-0-1, Como Canyon 2-2, Veterans Memorial 2-4, Smithson Valley 1-5-1, and then Seguin and the Wagner Thunderbirds. Smithson Valley, the one that sticks out to me, with the record. Now, obviously, who they play shapes that record quite a bit, but your thoughts on Smithson Valley early season struggles, I guess you could say?
Yeah, they are a young team. Like I said, I did see them play against Reagan. Reagan did, really pounded them. They won 5-0, and Smithson Valley kind of really struggled on that press that Reagan likes, that high press that Reagan likes to play. But I think overall, all these lumps are going to help them eventually. When they get into district play, I think they may. I still think they have a shot at winning the district, even though they're at 1-5-1, which may sound weird, but I think they have a shot to win the district title. I think things will they'll get it together once they start. Another team I think to kind of look out for is the Canyon Cougars. I think they have a good squad as well. They'll be in contention. Piper's another one too. Being a new school, I think they have a lot of players back. They've built some chemistry. I think they have a good shot getting the playoff spot, and then the last playoff spot, I think it'll be a dogfight between Kerrville, Bernie Champion, which I was surprised that they struggled with Kennedy. That was hopefully like I said, they'll bounce back from that. But the last playoff spot is probably going to be coming down to Kerrville, Bernie Champion, and possibly even like Veterans Memorial. So those are probably the 3. They're going to try to get that last spot.
Moving to 27, Alamo Heights 3-1, 1-0 in district. Brackenridge 1-0 in district, 1-1. Jefferson 1-2, 1-0 in district. Edison, MacArthur, Burbank hasn't played district. Sam Houston, Highlands, Lanier 0-1 for that here. I know you mentioned Alamo Heights is just going to run this. It's not going to be close as far as for the first seed. But how do you? I think you were high on Jefferson in the preseason.
For Alamo Heights, there'll be some games that are going to be challenged. I think one team to keep an eye out, because when we actually featured last year was Sam Houston. Sam Houston made the playoffs last year for the first time. I think they still have that little core group of players. They may give a little. I'm not saying like I said, they'll challenge Alamo Heights. It's not going to be a cakewalk for them. Like I said, they're going to, all these games that they play here, they're going to be challenged. But at Alamo Heights, I think they're going to win the district. As far as the 4 other 3 playoff spot, I think it's going to come down to maybe Jefferson, Brackenridge. I'm going to throw Edison in the mix, and also Sam Houston. I think those are the 4. keep an eye on MacArthur. Moving down from 6A to 5 might help them there to maybe sneak in and get into that one of those playoff spots. So they might be a dark horse there as far as getting to the playoffs. And then the other teams, I think they'll be, like I said, Lanier. I know they made the playoffs last year. They had a really good team, but they really faltered in that first round playoff against Harlandale. So we'll see if they're rebuilding again this year.
28 boys, Southwest 4-0, Harlandale 5-1, Medina Valley 3-2-1, and McCollum Southside, Eagle Pass win 0-2-1, South San, Southwest Legacy. This has been the Southwest Invitational
Mm-hmm.
on the boys' side for 3 years now?
3-4 years.
So I'm assuming you don't really think a whole lot's going to change in regards to that. I think you mentioned that they beefed up their schedule a little bit.
They go to Georgetown.
Didn't get the action they were looking.
Yeah, I mean they did get one with Austin Anderson. Austin Anderson's a good team. That was a good win for them. It's like I said, but the other two weren't really, like I said, as far as the quality. But that's a good start. I think they're hosting a showcase. I think this weekend, and I'm not sure who
they get
playing
Clark.
against.
They get Clark, Los Fresnos, and Jay. As far as for this weekend. And then next Tuesday they play at Laredo Alexander, at Laredo Alexander next Tuesday.
So those are some quality games because I did see Clark last night, and which we'll talk about in a bit. They'll get a game from them. Los Fresnos will give them a game. Los Fresnos is one of the top Valley teams for 6A, so that's going to be a good matchup. And then the last
John Jay
is always, like I said, they've always had a good team, so that'll be a good test for them. And then going down to Alexander, Alexander's made the regional quarterfinal the last 2 years. That's a good road test for them right before
district, yeah. So and what's weird is they play for the district, and I'm assuming it's probably actually they play them 3 times, but according to here they got wins scheduled on the 27th and the 28th. That might be an error because they also play them on the 21st for that here. But according to Max Prep schedules, they got them 2 days, but I doubt it's that. It's probably just an
error. Yeah, and as far as the other 3 playoff spots, I think it's going to come down. I think Harlandale is going to be in the contention. Like I said, Harlandale had a good win. They had a big win last year in the playoffs, knocking off Lanier. I think the Spencer Valley, the Medina Valley boys, I think they'll be.
They had a decent year last year. They sneaked in the playoffs.
Yeah, and then last spot, I think it's going to be wide open. Just keep your eye on the south side. I think they could get that last spot. I think
they made a run last year, right? I believe it was them that sneaked into that 4th slot. It was either them or Legacy. I forget which one of the.
Yeah, it's going to probably be between them and Legacy as far as that 4th spot, and then like South Sand's moving down from 6A to 5A. But like I said, I just don't see them in it.
You're not giving them the benefit of the doubt.
No, unless they can turn things around, And, I mean, like I said, you never know.
You never know in high school.
You never know. Someone could get hot in district play, and it's kind of like with us. Like when I coached my first year, we were kind of we lost our first district game, and then went up winning 10 in a row. So you never know when you can get hot at the right time. So, but Southwest, like I said, they're going to win the district, but I think the last 3 other playoff spots, I think it's going to come down to Harlandale, Medina Valley, Southside. It'll be wide open.
6A, not a lot in 27 that was reported. Cibolo Steel 2-0. New Braunfels 3-1, Judson 3-3. Shirts was kind of a little bit surprising. 0-2-2. Historically, they've been one of the good ones. East Central 0-2-1. Still very, very, very early, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts on District 27 for 6A?
The team that really to keep an eye on is actually New Braunfels. I think New Braunfels is going to win this district. They made the playoffs last year. They lost to Reagan, but the year before they beat them. So keep an eye on them. As far as the 3 other playoff spots, I think I think Clemens will bounce back. I think Steele will be in the mix. And then the last one's going to be, I think it's going to be up in the air between San Marcos, and East Central, and Judson. I think who can get the most wins out of those two games, I think they're going to end up getting that fourth spot.
Moving on to 28 boys. Lee 5-0, 1-0 in district. Brandeis 2-0-1, 1-0. Reagan A9_210 is Reagan Rattlers. Churchill all got opening wins in district for the first week. Johnson by Roosevelt, Madison, Clark, Marshall. Unfortunately, took losses. I think Roosevelt, if you're looking at record, probably is the one that just looking at record, not saying who they played or haven't played, but they had a pretty good preseason for that here. Your thoughts on 28? Lee looks to be back.
Yeah, this is, like I said, this is a brutal district too. I think this is for the district title. It could be a 3-horse race. I'm going to include actually Brandeis in the mix, and Brandeis, they were the surprise last year. I think they really have built momentum going into, to this season. Reagan is still the favorite because, like I said, I did see them play. I've seen them already twice. They did struggle a little bit last night with Clark. They actually, in that 1-0 win, it was off from a PK, and Clark really kind of frustrated them, and didn't allow that high press. They were able to kind of get around a bit, but I think Reagan is going to between, as far as the district title, is going to be between those three schools. The fourth spot, I think it's going to come down to either Churchill or Johnson.
So Lee's schedule here, because they're the team that beat Roosevelt, because that's who I was looking to see who beat Roosevelt, was Lee. Lee plays Missouri City, Ridge Point tomorrow, Keller, and then Dripping Springs on Saturday at 2 for that here. So should be a fun weekend for Lee.
Yeah, and Keller is on some polls have been at the top. They had a little bump on the road with some games last week, but that's going to be a great game.
Lake Travis won.
Yeah, and Lake Travis is a defending state champ, so no shame on that. But this is a good test for Lee, see where they're at. Like I said right before, again, they get back into district play. Same thing with Reagan too. I think they're up. I think at the Lakes too as well.
I wonder what tournament they're at, because Keller plays Lee. They play Harlan
on the Austin
Saturday.
Yeah, it's the Austin
Grapevine on Saturday. So
yeah, it's the Austin Elites tournament. It's hosted by
that seems
Lake
like
Travis
a pretty good,
and Westlake.
Pretty strong tournament, because MacArthur,
they got some teams,
Jordan, and Keller.
Yeah, so you're getting the best teams from Houston and Dallas, our region. I think
I can't San Antonio pull that out.
And that's what I'm saying. I was like, they should have a big elite showcase here. Dude, they're at Toyota. They're at
Every
least,
man Dan saying Reagan's about to get thumped by Seven Lakes. So.
Yeah, Seven Lakes is one of the top teams in the state. But that Seven Lakes did lose. They did get a loss last week. So, but that's going to be a great game. Like I said, all these games that they're playing is just preparation for district play and also your playoff run. So, like I said, it's good for them, and you're going to see the cream of the crop kind of rise out of there once you get more deeper into the district play.
Moving to District 29, Warren and Harlan each got district wins. Brennan Holmes took district losses. John Jay, Taft, O'Connor, Stevens. AJ plays junior varsity for Stevens, so I won't lie, I'm impartial to Stevens this year. Sotomayor, new school for that here. I think they're playing Stevens tonight, probably as we're speaking for that here. District 29, I know Harlan typically is the I think was your favorite going in. O'Connor's typically strong. Taft, I've been kind of impressed with. I know they've got 2 losses, but they've played some competition down in the down in the valley for that here. So, your thoughts on the 29 boys?
Yeah, this is going to be a competitive district. Harlan, I think they're going to be the favorite, but they'll have some. They're going to have some challenges from O'Connor. I think Taft's going to challenge them too.
And I
Keep
guess
an
we
eye
haven't
on
even
Warren.
mentioned Warren either, and they're in first
Keep an
place.
eye on Warren. I think Warren's always up there. Even Brennan, might challenge him a little bit too. But Harlan's going to win. More likely going to win this district, and then. As far as seeing the other three in the playoffs, I think O'Connor's going to be in the mix, Taft, and Warren. Even Jay. Watch out for Jay. Jay could surprise some teams this year.
Warren's gonna. I think this weekend will be a good test for them because they play Edison, which tomorrow, but then they play Davenport and Los Fresnos, which you mentioned earlier is a solid team from the Valley. So we'll probably get a pretty good idea of how real Warren is, and I know it's early, but how they're going to shape up for that here. And then let's see here. 27 girls. Jetson 4-1, New Braunfels 3-1, East Central 3-1, Steele 1-2-1, San Marcos 1-3, and Church Clemens 1-4. So.
I think New Braunfels is going to win this district.
This is the one where Dripping Springs should have been in. I'm sorry, Dripping Springs should have been in this conference. It just, I know they got put up in Austin, but I think this was
with Lake Travis and Westlake. But I'm sure they'll take care of business over there.
But I think it would have gave it some meat.
Yeah, because like I said, Dripping is not too far away from San Marcos. I think they could have. It would have been interesting because, like I said, especially that first round game, they could play one of the Northeast teams in that first round. But like I said, New Braunfels are probably going to win this district. As far as the three other playoff spots, I see Cibolo still in the mix. Clemens, even though that record is kind of a little deceiving, Clemens plays quality teams, so it's prepared to get them ready for district play. I think they'll be in the mix of the playoffs. And then the last playoff spot, I think it's going to be wide open. Could this be the year that Judson finally breaks through and gets that last playoff spot? Gets it together. So it'll be interesting.
28, Lee, 4-0, off to a good start. Reagan only reported 1 win. Brandeis 2-2, 1 win in district. Madison and Churchill Drew. Madison 3-0, 1 on the year. Marshall, Clark, and Roosevelt took losses in conference, and Johnson had a bye week as far as districts. So, your thoughts on the ladies in 28?
This, like I said, this is another brutal district in this region for the girls. There's probably 6 teams that can make the playoffs. 6 up.
Slots.
You only have 44 slots. Yeah. Last night I was actually at the Reagan Clark game. That was my game of the week for this cycle, and I was really anticipating a great game. But Reagan really dominated this game, and got to give it to the Clark goalkeeper. To me, she was the player of the game. She made some world class saves. This game could have been a rout. I mean, talking to Steve Sanchez, who was there with me, and Matt was there with me too, and this could have turned to like a 4 or 5-0 game had not that keeper made some amazing saves. And props to her. So a little shout out to her. If there was a game of player of the game, she would have gone it. Get a little trophy like that Courtois got today. But Reagan, they're going to be, like I said, they're just strong. They really touch the ball well. They're very physical. They're fast. I think they'll win this district, but they'll have some challenges. I think Brandeis, keep an eye on them. They may challenge, like I said, have a challenge for them. Same thing with Lee. You have Madison in the mix. The Johnson girls, even though they may have a losing record, but like I said, they split last year with Reagan, and they met in that regional quarterfinal, and they went to the overtime. So, we have about quite a few teams. Clark, I think, great defense, great goalkeeping. What they need to fix is up top. I don't think they got a shot on goal yesterday. So they need, like I said, find someone that can
top.
create some offense for them. But as far as the 4 teams in the playoffs, just kind of preliminary for me, I think it's gonna be Reagan, it's gonna be Johnson, I think Madison and possibly Lee. But keep an eye on Churchill, and also maybe
This is a
Clark.
tough conference, though.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Yeah,
It'll go down to the final weeks before
Mhm.
we possibly know who wins it and who the top 4 are. 29. Ooh, didn't do 29, I guess. So yeah, that's last year's record. So I must have missed 29 here. Let me go to my essay. Sorry, I was doing this right before we got here. Well, we got it here. So 29, Brennan 4-1, 1-0 in conference, or pardon me, district. Warren 3-1, Taft 4-0, John Jay 3-0-1, O'Connor 2-2, Sotomayor 1-2-1, Holmes, Stevens, and 1-2. Harlan probably the surprise at 1-3. For that here, 0-1 in district, and Holmes is 0-1 in districts. The others haven't played. They're probably playing tonight for that here. So stands out to me historically, Harlan being down where they're at. I know they graduated quite a bit last year for that here, if memory serves me correct. Taft 4-0 on the year. They've looked solid for that here, and Brennan and Warren historically have been pretty good.
Yeah, for I think the top 3 for that district is going to be Taft, O'Connor, and Brennan. I did see Brennan play this weekend. They actually played against Del Rio, and they got a 6-2 win. Even though they had a loss,
which you were happy about.
I mean, I was really impressed. They have a really good forward that she can out muscle some people and use her body to, and take shots, and they really can move the ball. But the one surprise for me, I think the one that may take this is going to be might be Taft. Taft went down to the valley, and they really flexed their muscle down there.
They did.
And keep an eye on them. I think they may take a deep run this year, and I wouldn't be surprised if they make it to the regional semifinals this year. And O'Connor, I know they had a coaching change this year. They still had some good results. I was surprised they lost to Harlingen, but Harlingen does have a good team. But I think they'll bounce back that. But it's going to be a 3-horse race for that district title. Like last year, it went down to the last couple of games, like one beat one and one beat the other in order for someone to get the title. So those are the 3. As far as the last spot, I haven't like I said, I did see Harlan play against Southwest, and they really did struggle, a bit, especially up top. They need to find some offense as far as, someone that can really kind of put pressure up top and create chances and create goals. Don't be surprised. Keep an eye on the John Jay girls. I've been watching them on Twitter. Some of the results, they may contend in that 4th spot. Same thing with like I said, it's probably going to be between them and Harlan. Also maybe Warren, and then I know the last one we had like an update on the Sotomayor was beating Stevens 2-0. So hopefully I get an update on that. What they update the score on that, but. Even though they're a first-year program, they may have, like I said, who knows what talent they were able to shift from the Harlan to them from the boundaries. Even though they're first in the sophomores, they may have enough to maybe sneak in and get that 4th and contend and get that 4th spot.
So, game of the week that you're going to be going out to, 1, 2, multiple. What's the Rafa schedule this week, depending on availability?
More likely, I think tomorrow we'll hopefully be at Comalander. I'm looking to see. There's a big game tomorrow. The Lady Jaguars from Johnson are going to face the defending 6A state champs, South Lake Carroll. That's going to be a great test for Johnson. Good measuring stick where they're at. Saturday, I'll probably be back over there, maybe checking out some games there, or maybe I'll head down. I might head down maybe to Southwest to see some of the games down there. We'll see how the schedules fit out on there. Friday, I'm not sure I'll be able to if I'm going, maybe I'll be at the Alamo Dome for the game, for the Spurs
Yeah,
game. But
Friday's going to be hard just because I know the entire city is trying to get everybody to go to the Alamo Dome to set the record for for the Spurs and for the Spurs season. I think that's what they're shooting for. I hate to say it, but
even though they're tanking,
they're tanking. I did hear Curry is most likely going to play as well, so which is going to be a good draw. I didn't actually attend a game at the Alamo Dome when the Spurs played there. For a lot of people though, they loved it when it was there.
Mhm.
So it'll be kind of interesting to see the crowd and along those lines here. So
yeah, I got to attend one game. That was, I think, against the Sacramento Kings. So I think the Spurs won that game. I don't knowing the Kings.
well, that was back when the Spurs used to win. So.
Yeah.
and like I said, it's a rebuild. You had 20 years of great basketball and great records. It cycles. It's through there.
Yeah, I don't think anybody can match that. I mean, it's nowadays it's just tough.
And then section 114, where we talk about other sports. I'm going to try to see if I can get together to do a show with Robert and John from Spurs and Salsa and kind of talk about the NFL playoffs coming up. Robert's Vikings got the afternoon
We'll lose
slot
against the Giants.
Nah, I think they pull it out. Cowboys play Monday night against Tampa, so can they actually not choke this round?
I don't trust Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, that's my Broncos. They waited too long to fire the coach. Once they fired the coach, they became a respectable team. Go figure. But
yeah, we'll see how the Cowboys get it going. Yeah, and then we're wearing the blue jerseys.
Is there a blue jersey jinx? Like
I think it goes back.
This isn't the first year. This has been.
They've won some games with their blue jersey. I think the jinx goes back to when they played the Colts in that Super Bowl, because they wore the blue jerseys, and then ever since they've never worn the blue jerseys in a playoff game ever again. I think this is the first time they. I take that back. I think they did wear the blue jerseys against when the LA Rams, I think, made it to the Super Bowl. They wore the blue jerseys, and they lost that game. They're I think, looking back. So it's like hopefully they'll break the curse. Hopefully Parsons will send Brady to retirement.
So here we go. If you were to splurge in some sports betting, we'll put it at over under a half. Dak throws a pick six against Tampa.
I think he throws a pick, but I don't think it's a pick six. I don't think they have good. I don't think Tampa has good corners.
They don't, but Dak has a history of giving it away and giving away all the way. So Rafa, like I said here, I'm glad to get first episode in for season 5, and we'll wrap this up. Unfortunately, the cat litter just went cycling here, so sorry for that noise. For that here, I'm like, God. Dang, litter. We have that litter robot for that here, which is kind of nice. If you can do it, it's good. But what's life without goals? We're out of here. I think Wednesdays is going to be the night we do.
Yeah.
Wednesday 7:30 is going to be the night that we do this, and I'll get Mac together and have the standings done right before tip off here. So, but thank you, Rafa.
Have some power rankings soon. Because I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting for it to kind of everything to. Let's get a couple
of district games in.
Yeah, we'll see who's the contenders and who are the pretenders.
I know with 50-50 you kind of do the Rafa Power Index and
per state.
You have your stand, your rankings. And please, if you want to check more on a state level, Rafa and Coach Cano do a wonderful job. Do you know when the next 50-50 is, or?
I think it's being discussed right now. I think
still be
yeah. So. Yeah, I think we're just waiting for everything to kind of get some games in, and then because I like I said, we got some there's still some tournaments even to the third week, and by that time, district will play, so we'll know who's really as far as statewide, who's gonna make a mark out of that? Because like I said, like one team I saw that really kind of put a dent in that Northeast Elite tournament was Irvin High School, and Irvin was not one that wasn't even in my top 15. They weren't even on my radar. So
We got to figure out how San Antonio can get a top class tournament here. To me, there's no reason why San Antonio, because you got what the I-10 shootout this week in Houston. That's got what, 80 teams, something like that.
So,
I think it's like 8 brackets, or it's some obscene amount
from all the KDISD schools.
From the I know there's a couple of San Antonio schools that are going over there, and from Dallas, and I'm pretty sure I saw Austin. Some of them going. You mentioned the Austin Elite one. The North Texas Elite. San Antonio deserves to get one. Deserves to have one as well for that, because there is the quality for both on the boys and the girls side to have a decent side. We've got the stadiums to be able to do it throughout the city here. Whether it's the north side, I believe there's a couple of nice stadiums on the south side as well, where you could encompass the entire city, to where you could have the kids stay downtown, and then be able to go through there. But that would be my goal, to see a 50-50 SA Soccer Roundtable invitational. I gotta see if I won that lottery.
The teams. I think the teams will come, because, like I said, when I went to the Ranger Classic for the girls, we had teams. I mean, we had El Paso Franklin come down, and I think the boys were at the. I believe they were at the Alamo Heights tournament. So I think with all the districts, maybe if they would kind of come, sit down and say, hey, we can literally pull off a big, not to say a tournament, but at least a showcase to feature our top teams here against some of the Houston teams, and the Dallas and El Paso, even out of state teams, because I've seen some out of state teams from Florida, California. They want to come down here
because the weather here is historically good. It may be chilly, but you're not getting the ice and stuff that you'd get up in the Dallas Fort Worth area. You may get the cold wind, but to me, it's something, and I know this isn't the first time we've discussed this and for that here, so we need to get off, because we said we were going to try to keep it, and yet we're still here. We got to do better on this. And like I said, I apologize to 6A District 29. That was my bad. I'll definitely get that cleaned up next time. But Rafa, pleasure having you week 1. We got a bunch of shows to do this year, so wish you luck, and see you on Sunday.
See you Sunday.